any longer. Magnificent towns and cities that were so beautiful could never be reconstructed, other than Kiev, which is actually starting to be hit right now. He wanted to save that. Most of the country is gone. The heritage is gone. So many people are dead. Many people have left for Poland, for Hungary, and for other places, never to return. And that includes many, many Russian soldiers are dead. A deal could have been made. There wouldn't have been one person that died, and there wouldn't have been one golden tower laying shattered on its side. A deal could have been made if we had a competent president instead of a president that egged it all on. And Biden and Kamala allowed this to happen by feeding Zelensky money and munitions like no country has ever seen before. Every time he came to our country, he'd walk away with $60 billion. He's probably the greatest salesman on earth. But now Ukraine is running out of soldiers. They're using young children and old men because their soldiers are dying and other things are happening to them that we won't even discuss. So many are badly injured. And what do you have? What deal can we make? What deal can we make? It's demolished. The people are dead. The country is in rubble. And who are these people that allowed this to happen? Who are these people? I said, don't let it happen. This never happened in my 4 years. I told President Putin, you're not going to do it. He would never have done it. They started to form after I left. And I actually thought they were forming as a negotiating tactic for Putin. I thought it was a negotiation. But through a lot of bad statements and stupid statements, he went in, and he's no angel. It's all such a horror. Biden and Harris caused this situation by the stupidity of what they said, by every move they make. But they caused the situation, and now they're locked in. They're locked in. I watched this poor guy yesterday at the United Nations. He didn't know what he was saying. They just don't know what to do. They're locked into a situation. It's sad. They just don't know what to do because Ukraine is gone. It's not Ukraine anymore. You can never replace those cities and towns, and you can never replace the dead people, so many dead people. Any deal, even the worst deal, would have been better than what we have right now. If they made a bad deal, it would have been much better. They would have given up a little bit, and everybody would be living, and every building would be built, and every tower would be aging for another 2,000 years. And it will only get worse with these people. With Kamala she doesn't know what she's doing. More people will die. More cities will fall. The ones that fell will continue to receive more and more bombs. They'll be broken up asunder, worse than they are right now. Nothing is standing. The crops are dying. There's really nothing for the Ukrainian people to move back to. And it didn't need to happen. Those buildings are down. Those cities are gone. They're gone. And we continue to give billions of dollars to a man who refuses to make a deal, Zelensky. There was no deal that he could have made that wouldn't have been better than the situation you have right now. You have a country that has been obliterated, not possible to be rebuilt. It'll take hundreds of years to rebuild it. There's not enough money to rebuild it if the whole world got together. They're not going to be satisfied until they send American kids over to Ukraine, and that's what they're trying to do. And the moms and dads of America don't want their kids fighting Ukraine and Russia, and we're not going to have our soldiers die across the ocean. I will restore, as I did for 4 years, the only president in 81 years, they say, no wars. Hillary Clinton said, look at him, look at him. He'll immediately start wars. No. Then she said, look at his rhetoric. He's going to start wars. I said, no, my rhetoric is going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. I kept you out of wars. My rhetoric kept you out of wars. I stopped wars from happening. If it were somebody else, they would have gotten 5 Nobel Prizes. I never even got a mention, and I wouldn't, because I happen to be a different kind of a person, and the fake news treats me much differently than they treat other people. Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize, and he didn't even do it. He said, why did I get it? He had no idea. It was immediate as soon as he walked into office, practically. He didn't do anything. What I've done is incredible. The Abraham Accords alone, incredible. But they haven't done anything with it. We would have had every country just about in the Middle East signed into the Abraham Accords, but the Abraham Accords brought peace. We would have had total peace in the Middle East. But I don't care about that with the Nobel Prize. I had so many people, you should get the Nobel Prize. I said, don't worry about it. They don't get the Nobel Prize to certain people. But these are the people that get things done. These are the people that understand strength and they understand peace, because we will restore peace through strength. We will rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. This is how we will end the era of inflation, mayhem, and misery under Kamala and Crooked Joe, and unleash safety, prosperity, and peace for Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. We're going to do things for our people that haven't been done for a very long time. And we started 4 years ago. We were doing things that nobody ever believed, jobs. And we had the greatest economy in the history of our country 4 years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, and 5 years ago. Together, we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home, the American dream. We will stop the invasion and end migrant crime, support our great police, strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield over our country, keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools, and we will keep men out of women's sports. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure once and for all our elections. Our elections are under siege. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and with hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris, and we must stop her country-destroying liberal agenda once and for all. It has to end. We have to bring our country and take our country back. So get everyone you know and vote. We want a landslide that's too big to rig. Very simple. Too big to rig. On November 5th, we will save our economy, we will save our country. It will go down as the most important day in the history of our country. We will rescue our middle class. We will reclaim our sovereignty and restore our borders. We will put America first all the time, and we will take our country back. North Carolina, get out to vote. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Everybody. And thank you very much. A very big hello to North Carolina, special place. You saw the other day my little granddaughter, she's named Carolina. There's for a reason, because Lara, her mother is from here, and she's doing a fantastic job, a fantastic person. So it's great to be here and great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. I want to thank very much Glenn Mosak and everyone at the Mosak Group for welcoming me today. This is a beautiful, fantastic place. And I must tell you, Glenn is the owner and the boss and all of that, and he grabbed me as I'm coming up. He grabbed me, "Sir, I want to just tell you something." He said, "Before tariffs, when you put those tariffs on, this was just a dead, empty building. It wasn't functioning. And you put those tariffs on, and now we're a manufacturing powerhouse." He said they were only importing product. Now they're making product, and they're making a lot of it. You see a lot of it here. That's a lot of product. And I really, I know that. I've known that for a long time, and that's what we're going to be doing on a much, much larger scale. And our congressmen that are here and senators, a lot of people here, I'll just introduce a couple real fast, but I just want you to know that I couldn't have been more beautifully greeted when Glenn said that, because I've been trying to explain that to people. They don't understand it, but this was he called it an empty hulk, and now it's a thriving business. We're also joined by, thank you very much. We're also joined by congressional nominees. Mark Harris is doing fantastically well. No relation to Kamala Harris, I don't assume. No, he's not. No, I don't think so. You're doing very well. You're doing better than she is, I can tell you that, in the polls. And Pat Harrigan. Thank you. Good luck, Pat. Good. I heard you're both doing great. And, of course, North Carolina GOP Chairman Jason Simmons, who's a fantastic job. I heard we had a great poll this morning. That was good. We're doing well. We've won North Carolina twice, and we got to win it one more time. And we win North Carolina, we're going all the way. Perhaps we go all the way anyway, but this is a very important place, a very important state, and I love it. And as the expression goes, we have family here, and we really do. I also own a big enterprise down the road at Lake Norman. Does anybody know of what I have? And it's been very, very successful. Trump National has been great right on Lake Norman, which is so beautiful. I wish I had time to go see it. I won't have time to even see it. I got to go in and out, but I'll be back. As you know, there have been 2 assassination attempts on my life that we know of, and they may or may not involve, but possibly do, Iran. But I don't really know, can't be sure, because in the first case in Butler, Pennsylvania, great place, and we're going back to Butler, by the way. We're going to go back and finish our speech. The FBI has been unable to open the 3 potentially foreign-based apps. And in the second case, the assassin had 6 cell phones in his car, yet the FBI has likewise been unable to penetrate their guard. Shouldn't be tough to do. They want to know, and I want to know, and the whole country and maybe the world wants to know, who was he calling? Who was he calling? In the old days, the FBI and the DOJ used to capture people before anything happened. In current days, the upper echelon of the FBI is all talk while they focus on the sitting president's political opponents. That's what they're doing. They spend so much time. We won the case in Florida. It's all a big scam. It's all against a political opponent, me, who's doing better in the polls than anybody else, and should be hopefully able to recapture the presidency in 41 days and make our country great again. But all they focus on is their political opponent. But they must get Apple to open these foreign apps, and they must get Apple to likewise open the 6 phones from the second lunatic, who's a lunatic, and open them immediately, because we have a lot at stake. whether it's me or any other former president. They break into apps all the time. They had no problem breaking into the apps of the J6 hostages. They broke into those apps. And they could be Iran-based. They could also be something else. But we'll never know until they're opened, and they got to get them opened. And really, why is it that the father of the shooter in the Butler instance has one of the best and most expensive lawyers in the entire state of Pennsylvania? How did he get to this expensive lawyer, big law firm, the biggest in Pittsburgh? Where did he get this big law firm from? It's sort of strange. If I were president and a former president and a leading candidate, I'm the leading candidate by far to be the next president. And that leading candidate was under threat. If I was president and the candidate was under threat, any candidate, Republican or Democrat, and by the way, I want to thank the Democrats because they just increased funding for the Secret Service, who worked very hard. They increased funding for the Secret Service, and nobody will believe this. It was a unanimous vote. Republicans, every single Republican, every single Democrat present voted in favor. That was the first unanimous vote we've seen in a long time, and that's to increase the funding of the Secret Service. So I thank everybody in Congress. But if I were the president, I would inform the threatening country, in this case Iran, that if you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens. We're going to blow it to smithereens. You can't do that. And there would be no more threats. There would be no more threats. But right now, we don't have that leadership or the necessary people, the necessary leaders. We have two people, not one. We don't even know who our president is right now. Who is our president right now? We really don't know, but we have two people, not one, that only keep looking. And when you do that, when you just look, trouble always ensues. So it's big trouble for our country. Meanwhile, we have the president of Iran in our country this week. We have large security forces guarding him, and yet they're threatening our former president and the leading candidate to become the next president of the United States. Certainly a strange set of circumstances. Around the world, our enemies are desperate to prevent Donald Trump from returning to the White House because they know I will make America great again. They don't want that. 4 years ago, our country was feared and respected, and our country will soon be feared and respected again. We have to have that. And that's why we all need to pull together to thwart these attempts and to bring back American strength, power, and prestige. We will soon have it back. No threat will shake me. No enemy will intimidate me. And I have never been more determined than I am today, and I will never back down in my fight to make America great again, which is what we're doing. So I want to make that statement because we are under threat. I have been threatened very directly, and I appreciate the agencies that we've been meeting with, but we've been threatened very directly by Iran. And I think you have to let them know, because the best way to do it is through the office of the president, that you do any attacks on former presidents or candidates for president, your country gets blown to smithereens, as we say. 41 days from now, we are going to win the state of North Carolina. We are going to defeat Comrade Kamala Harris, and we are going to take back our country. We're going to take it back. Yesterday, I was in Georgia, a great place, to outline my plan for an American manufacturing renaissance. That's what we're doing. We got tremendous reviews on that speech. Now today, Kamala Harris is supposedly announcing her so-called plans to support manufacturing and wealth creation. Why didn't she do it 3.5 years ago? They've done nothing. Why didn't she do everything 3.5 years ago? She's been there for almost 4 years, and she didn't do it. She didn't create wealth. She destroyed 22% of the value of every dollar in your pocket and jeopardized us in front of the remaining portions of the marketplace. And the world's reserve currency is under siege right now. A lot of people think we won't have the reserve currency. If we lose that, that's like the equivalent of losing a war. We will have it. If I'm elected president, we will have the world's reserve currency in better shape and order, and every country will follow it. And if they don't, we will put tariffs on that country, and we won't trade with that country. And they will then call us and say, we would love to have you continue to be the world's reserve currency, sir. So easy. It's so easy, but you need the right messenger. You need the right messenger. She didn't support domestic manufacturing. She killed 24,000 U.S. manufacturing jobs. In the last month alone, we lost 24,000 jobs. You know, there is a reason for the interest rate cut from the Fed. Big part of that reason is that our economy is doing really, really badly. Kamala goes to work every day in the White House. Families are suffering now. So if she has a plan, she should stop grandstanding and do it. Just do it. You have a few months left. Do it. Do it. You have plans for the border? Do it now. You know, you don't need anything at the border. All you need is the President of the United States to say, the border is closed. I didn't have anything. I had only a good thought process. I closed the border. I built hundreds of miles of wall, and I got Mexico to give us thousands of soldiers to guard our country so people didn't come in. And we had the safest border in the history of our country. I didn't need to have a document. I was president. I said to the Border Patrol, nobody better than the Border Patrol and ICE and all of the rest, law enforcement in this country, of which I have the endorsement of almost every single law enforcement group. But Kamala should have closed the border years ago, and we wouldn't have hostile takeovers of Springfield, Ohio, Aurora, Colorado, where they're actually going in with massive machine gun type equipment. They're going in with guns that are beyond even military scope. And they're taking over apartment buildings. They're taking over real estate. They're in the real estate development business. Congratulations. These are, in that case, people from Venezuela, young street gang members that were sent here by the Venezuelan government. You know, crime in Venezuela is way down. Crime all over the world is way down, except here. I was right in the debate when David Muir kept interrupting me over and over and over again. And he said to me, when I said crime is way up, it's rampant because of what's happening in our country. And he said, no, crime is not up. That's a mistake. Crime. Well, the following day, the Department of Justice announced the crime figures up 44%, up much more than that in certain categories. But I haven't gotten an apology. No vice president in history has done more damage to the United States economy than Kamala Harris. She has no idea what she's talking about on economy or really on anything else. If you watched Oprah the other day and you watched those answers, you wouldn't even be thinking of her for president of the United States, because we had 4 years of that, and our country can't take 4 more years of that, I can tell you. But twice she cast the deciding votes that caused the worst inflation in maybe 100 years. She abolished our borders and flooded our country with 21 million plus illegal aliens. They came in from all over. Think of it. They came from prisons and jails. They came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're terrorists. They're criminal street gangs. They're MS-13. We took millions of people like this into our country, and we're going to get them out, and we're going to get them out fast, I can tell you. No country can survive that. No country can survive it. But ask yourself, is anything less expensive than it was 4 years ago? Where are the missing 818,000 jobs? Remember they said 808, they were fake jobs. And they thought they'd be caught, but they thought it was going to be after the election, not before the election. They had a leaker, thank you, Mr. Leaker. They had a leaker who leaked the fact that they falsified the numbers.